What is going on, guys? This is indeed Change the F Up, the only place where the format is never the change because, let's face it, change is a part of life. Of course, as always, you can find us on Spreaker.com, iTunes, Player.fm, PodDirectory.com, Stitcher.com, TuneIn Radio, IW Nerd, as well as Satchel Podcast Player for the Android, as well as smartphones, and Mr. NTG1990 on YouTube. And we got to give a shout out to our great sponsors over at ProWrestlingCrate.com, the only place where you can get one-of-a-kind wrestling memorabilia at a great price. And, of course, my good buddies at AJ'sBelts.com. And, guys, this is where it gets down to the breaking point. You've only got a few more weeks away. Go message them at AJ'sBelts at Yahoo.com and mention that the Squirt Circle podcast referred to you to go to this site. And you guys will get an exclusive deal on the Cruiserweight Championship belt as well as the Universal Championship belt. You only got until December 20th. Otherwise, you guys are going to miss out on a great deal. You're not going to find it anywhere else, guys, so go check them out. All right, so done with that. I'm indeed the host with the most, Nate the effing great. Of course, as always, joined here by my lovely co-host, the incomparable VicTori Belle.
Hi. I'm excited for this podcast. I'm a little nervous and excited.
And for those of you that do know what she's talking about, is that we are doing a debate, which is Marvel versus DC. I will be representing Marvel. She will be representing DC Comics. I know the person who cosplays as Wonder Woman is doing DC Comics. What a shock. What a thriller. It was one of those things where I asked her, well, which one did you want to represent? And she says, well, I think I kind of have a rep to uphold with the DC Comics, so I think I'll go with them, unless you want to do it. I said, no, I think I'll do Marvel, which is honestly where I kind of wanted to go. I was thinking, I know Marvel a little better than DC Comics, and honestly, I think I got a little more positive vibes from Marvel than I do DC Comics, but maybe she will change my mind about that, so we'll see. But be sure, guys, to stay to the end of the podcast to find out how you guys can vote to see who won this debate and who you thought was the better choice, either Marvel or DC. But you know what? Let's just get right into it. And we're just going to go straight into opening comments. I believe that last time we did something like this, I went first, so it's only fair that I be chivalrous and let the lovely Madam Belle, representing DC Comics, make her first statement for her side of the story.
So, I'm going to start talking about DC Comics now?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can if you want to. So.
No, I think we should just make it all apparent that we did talk that this is DC versus Marvel, not DC movies versus Marvel movies. Because then I would not have chosen DC, because it would just been not fair. But, yeah, I have to say that DC Comics and the DC storylines, to me, just kind of give you a little more in-depth feel of the character development and everything. I think a lot of people really know the characters and the characters are really prominent in pop culture, which the big main characters are, Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman, Bruce Wayne. Everybody knows Bruce Wayne's story, and that's kind of one of those things people are like, oh, we're so done having the movies show this story again and again, but it's like, these characters are so in-depth and thought out from the creators, so, yeah, DC came first. Like, DC, like Superman, Batman, all these guys, I'm pretty sure Superman was the first guy. I could be wrong, and if you can prove me wrong, please do, but I'm almost 100% sure Superman was, like, the first comic book hero. And it's like everybody built off of him because they're like, whoa, they have something here. So, I guess that's going to be my first point, is that DC started this whole movement, and everybody else is a follower, so Marvel was a follower.
Okay. I could probably agree with that. I could definitely agree that DC was the starting point, and they started the revolution, which is the superhero regime. However, I will disagree on the fact that you talked about character development, because here's the thing, is that while DC does have quite a bit to offer when it comes to, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, stuff like that, however, when it comes to real life scenarios and relatability factor, Marvel definitely has the edge on there. For example, you compare, Clark Kent and Peter Parker. Both of them have worked with the news and, of course, with my side, Marvel, with Peter Parker. Everybody has to deal with a bit of a, D of a boss in J. Jonah Jameson, so everybody can relate to the fact that, oh, you got to deal with this guy, and he only wants what he wants, he only wants what he believes, and blah, blah, blah. And also it shows the struggles that Peter Parker has to deal with, like, paying rent, paying for other finances, stuff like that. And really, in all of the movies that I've seen with Superman, I've never seen Clark Kent really pay a dime or a penny for anything, really. So I think that Marvel's got the edge there. And I mean, you can go into another example with, let's say, Tony Stark, Iron Man, versus Batman, Bruce Wayne. Both are, of course, millionaires, and they are both basically self-made. However, I give the edge more to Tony Stark because you can definitely tell that there are a lot of people that are trying to take his position, and there are a lot of people that are trying to take Stark Industries away from him. Whereas Bruce Wayne, it seems more like they are just kind of, Goliath handy, ass kissing, yes men who are just saying like, oh yes, we totally agree with you, Bruce Wayne. Oh, you want this kind of money? Okay. What do you need it for? Oh, you want it for like a trip or something like that? Oh, no problem. Nothing suspicious about that at all. You kind of don't see a connection there. That's kind of your fault. Well, of course, Iron Man is one of those guys who just says, well, hey, I'm Iron Man, so I need this kind of to help save the world. They'll be like, oh, okay, I guess that's okay. But they'll still kind of make the argument like you don't need violence to make the world a better place. We could do peace and blah, blah. But I think that Marvel definitely has the advantage, like I said, as far as relatable personality traits as well as being, as real life scenarios. While granted, I know I'm going to be, saying blasphemy when I say this, even though both sides are more fiction, I think that Marvel definitely has more the advantage when it comes to actual seemingly real life scenarios. So that's my point for Marvel on that one.
So you think that Marvel is more realistic than DC?
Oh, it's been proven by a lot of means that Marvel has done a lot more real life scenarios. And plus, think of this, that when you think about a lot of the cities that they have in Batman, Superman, they come up with made up names. At least in Marvel, they name, New York City, Washington, D.C., and all these other cities.
They definitely did base stuff off of real cities, which some people like it, some people don't. They're like, oh, well, like, sure, destroy the whole Empire State Building or something and have it be, I don't know. I'm trying to get the point of, like, have you ever seen the most recent Transformer movie? No, not most recent. The one where they, like, destroyed Chicago. Mm-hmm. I was, like, really sad that they destroyed Chicago because, like, that's my hometown, basically. Like, oh, that's my city, and like, I could see it like, oh, well, it's realistic. It makes you emotionally connect to it. But also, it's like, oh, I wish they could just make up the city. Like, oh, Gotham, they use Chicago, but it's like their own, I don't know. It's just more creative, I think, that they made up a whole new city of darkness and despair. And I don't know. I guess it gave them more creative freedom. I could see a point where it does connect people more if they know the city and they're like, oh, I live there. It's my city. But I also think it's kind of cool that they made up, like, Gotham and, Metropolis and all these, even though there's Metropolises. And there's probably Gothams, but I just don't know any of them from the top of my head. But I could see a point with that. I could see a point. But yeah, so do we go on? Do we go on to another point, I guess?
Yeah, by all means.
Okay. So it was kind of hard to argue about character development because, to be honest, I think they both do a good job on that. So that's why I went to, like, hey, DC was first. But I guess I could see where you're, like, relatability. I don't think anyone can relate to superheroes. But one thing I definitely think that that DC beats Marvel at is kind kind of having that grit and the darkness factor, like the real life kind of like, hey, it's not all happy-go-lucky when you're fighting, to save the world. Most of the time, like, people hate you and people are afraid of you. So I'm going to say DC beats Marvel on that, saying, like, having false gods. And, they really show a lot of the factor of, like, people being upset about Superman and upset about this, and especially in the most recent, Batman vs. Superman movie, you saw, like, it's not that people really like this Superman, it's that they're actually afraid of him, and it shows kind of the side of superheroes that the starting comics probably didn't even think about, is that, hey, like, these people are dangerous, and we don't know what to do with them. And that's kind of, I think, DC really started that movement and brought that out. Especially in today's age, they're trying to show the darker side of superheroes, and I mean, yes, you could say maybe that's not always the best thing. Maybe it's not as happy as people want it. But I don't know. I think if you're fighting like these super villains who are insane and psycho and want to destroy the Earth, I don't think it would be a happy time. So I think DC definitely has more grit than Marvel does.
Well, maybe a little more grit, but I think it can also state, and this kind of goes into a different direction with that, because I can definitely agree that Marvel seems a bit more family oriented, a little more easy with the kids, and a little more comedical at times. I mean, you look at any movie that has Loki in it, I love that supervillain. But one thing that I think Marvel also beats DC at is the fact that they have very well established groups in their universe compared to the DC universe. I mean, right now you can think of, as far as DC, they've done, Justice League, Suicide Squad, and, of course, the ever so famous Teen Titans. But that's really about it as far as a lot of people can really think about as far as DC goes. When it comes to Marvel, you have a little more variety. You have Guardians of the Galaxy, Fantastic Four, X-Men, the Avengers, to name the more popular of the most. And honestly, with the way that they build these up and they find a way to have them all connected in some way, which is going to, side note, make Infinity War movie coming out in a few years look awesome. The fact that they have all these groups, it definitely helps widen the audience's point of view, where some people could say if they want more real life deals, then they could probably go to the Avengers. If they want more science fiction, they would go see Guardians of the Galaxy. If they want to see something that's a little more abnormal, kind of interesting, go to the X-Men. And of course, if they want just, I guess simply put, 4 different personalities with 4 different superpowers, definitely go see Fantastic Four. So I think that when it comes down to it, you look at all the established groups that Marvel has compared to DC, Marvel's got the upper hand on that. And I think if you basically compared and put all these groups together, you're definitely going to see a lot more numbers on Marvel's side than on DC's side.
Of scripts? Of movies?
No, as far as groups, like I was saying.
Well, I mean, The Losers was also one that came out and people know about for DC, and also the one with the comedian and all them. I'm totally blanking on the name of that movie. The one with the big naked blue dude.
Naked blue.
Do you remember that movie? I now I have to look it up because I'm freaking out because I love that movie and now I can't think of it because I'm just not in the zone right now.
The naked blue dude. That's.
Give me 1 second. Continue to talk about it.
I was about to say, are we referring to like the Smurfs or something like that? I don't think Smurfs are a part of DC Comics, but I mean,
there we go. Boom, the Watchmen.
Oh, I see. Okay.
A big comic book series that was super dark and super pretty connected at the time.
Okay.
During the Korean and